Welcome to the studio. It's Froyle here and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today we are creating a gel plate collage. I'm so excited. This is a new technique that I've been playing with recently, and to be honest, I haven't quite mastered it, but I have learned some fabulous lessons along the way, and I'm going to give you my 3 top tips for creating successful and fabulous gel plate collage prints. So I'm starting with my 16 by 20 gel elf plate. It's beautiful, big size, I love it. And today I have a brand new scrap bag. These are our scrap packs that we have in the store. Fabulous, small, little, tiny pieces, offcuts. They're actually papers from whatever I've been working on recently in the studio, and some of these are from my class 10 on my Skillshare class. I did a travel theme, so I've got a lot of travel bits and pieces. Anyway, I pulled out one of the packs from the box because I was very excited about trying this idea. I've opened it up, I'm pulling out the papers. Now the thing is, I didn't really pay much attention because I was too excited putting the papers down. I just picked them up, whatever I touched, and I put them on the plate. Now remember, you have to put your papers face down because when you turn that print over, it's going to come up on top whatever you put down first. So my number 1 tip is use the smallest pieces first. And because I'm pulling out these pieces of paper from the scrap pack, they are pretty small and they've been cut very neatly. You can see that my mum cut these because when I do scrap packs, they're ripped to shreds, baby. But these ones are nice and neat, and I'm figuring it's going to work really well for this technique because they fit so nicely on the gel plate. Start with your smallest pieces because then what you want to do is add layers on top. So number 2 tip is to use a gel medium in between the paper layers. So when you have your first little pieces on the plate and you want to put the second piece on top, make sure you put a little bit of gel medium in between those paper layers so that when you pull that print, it comes up off the plate all together in one cohesive, fabulous collage paper. Now, I have to admit, I did get a little carried away putting the paper on the gel plate. I mean, really, I should have left more space for some paint or painted in some shapes. But we can do that next time. I was so excited for my scrap pack papers that I stuck them all on the plate. I completely covered it, which I think is pretty funny. So then you want to add your paint layer because we are pulling a print, even though the whole thing's covered in collage paper. And I'm using unbleached titanium. So number 3 tip is make sure you use a paint color to pull your print, something that's going to work well with the papers that you put down. Now, this was a random pack of papers. I didn't specifically pick them all out and color coordinate them. I'm really hoping for the best, and I've got no idea how it's going to turn out because all the papers are face down and piled on top of each other. So I've got a vague idea, but really, no, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But you want to pull it with a paint color that's going to work well overall, because where you have left gaps on your gel plate, where the papers don't touch, where you might have left some space, leave more space than I did. Then you're going to see the color of the paint that you pull it with. So number 3, make sure you put a color on there that's going to work for your overall print. I've used the unbleached titanium. I love this color. I think it works really, really well. Also, if you've got some transparent papers on the plate, there are some in this mix of scrap pack papers. So when they go transparent, you want to put a color on them that's not going to overpower them which is why I think this color works particularly well. But depending on what colors you've put on your plate, you might want something else. So now I've got the plate covered in the papers. I've put on the unbleached titanium. You might have noticed I'm brushing it on. That's because if I roll it, it'll probably pick up the papers that are on there and peel them off. Yes, I have done that and it's really annoying. So brushing it on, and I'm using the wet strength tissue on the plate to pull this print. Now I'm going to leave this print overnight because I have found that for me, I get impatient and I pull it up too soon. And then there's all sorts of dramas, stuff sticks to the plate. But if I leave it overnight, I don't get impatient. And I have found that the gel medium does take a bit longer to dry, especially if you're piling it on in between those layers of papers. So it's now the next morning and I'm pretty excited. A little apprehensive. Now, like I said, I did get a tad carried away with plastering all the papers on. But look, I've got so many from my scrap pack that I could have still used. That's why I got so excited. I really like this one. These ones should have gone in. But what I'm thinking is I could do this exactly again and use the rest of these papers. And because I don't have so many, then I might leave more areas for paint, right? Everything's an experiment. Every print is an adventure. It's all about the exploration. So don't stress out if you don't get it perfectly how you want the first time. You can just do it again. Absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to push all those over there because I'm definitely going to use those again. And I think I'm going to pull the plate off the paper instead of the paper off the plate because I find sometimes that just works a bit better. Well, look how fabulous it looks. Yes, I know. I didn't leave any room for the paint. You don't have to keep telling me. I already realise that now. But look how easy it comes up the next morning off the gel plate because I waited for it to actually dry properly. That's a number 4 tip. That's a bonus tip. Wait for your print to dry completely before you try pulling it up. Nothing is stuck to the gel plate. It's such a satisfying feeling. Maybe that's why we like this so much. Absolutely beautiful. The papers are fabulous. Ta-da, ta-da! Look at that. Look at that. It looks beautiful. Now, you're asking me, why couldn't have you just stuck those papers on a substrate without using a gel plate? Yes, I did ask myself the same question once I finished it, but it was too late by then. However, you can put half as many papers on the plate and add more areas of paint. For sure, for sure. We're going to be doing that in a future print. But if we look at this, I want to show you. See here, this is the Kozo paper here, and that dissolves and goes quite transparent. So you want to think about what you're putting behind it when you're putting that on the plate. There's the first one, number 1 tip, small pieces first. There you go. And then it has the other fabulous papers behind it, which looks great. And this one here, that's the textured piece that I put down, and I did stick a fair amount of the gel medium on it because I wanted all of those papers to be embedded together. And you see, it works, baby. So that was the number 2 tip, the gel medium. Don't forget that in between your layers of paper. And number 3 is make sure you have a good background paint color when you're picking up that print to really do well with your other papers. And you can see little sneaky bits of the unbleached titanium through here and around these pieces of paper. Now, I love the way it's so embedded together. Look at it. You could actually make a art journal cover out of this. You totally could because it's so nice and thick. All embedded together. You could do so much with it. And with all these leftover pieces, I could do another one and add more paint layers or shapes into it. Now, if you want to find the beautiful scrap packs, have a look at the website. They are available. We only make them in batches, and this batch are these papers right now. They change every batch. I'm loving this. I think this worked well, but yes, I have some more ideas of where we could actually put more paint into it. So what about we add an image transfer and then put the papers on? I might get out the smaller 9x12, go and find an image transfer, and let's do that. Okay, so I've pulled out my 9x12 gel elf plate and I'm using my fabulous, beautiful door from Venice. Now this print will come from my digital collage papers. Yes, you'll find them on my website. I love these beautiful images. I took the photos when I was in Venice. And I do use it quite often because I love it so much. I've got the Liquitex Muted Violet on the plate. Transfer is down, looking absolutely fabulous. And I do a little wipe, a little touch up on where I don't want the paint to be. Now, seeing as the first print, I didn't use any paint on the plate much at all. I'm thinking, let's splash a little bit of the Titan Buff on the plate with a bit of the water spray so it spreads it around, just creates a little bit of texture. Now, I did wait for that image transfer to dry, so it was just to touch, put the beautiful paint on, sprayed it. It's looking fabulous. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry to move on to the collage part because we're putting paper over the top of it anyway. I'm hoping that this idea just might blend more of a splashy paint over the papers that I add to the background. I'm not super sure which papers I'm adding, but I have pulled out one of my own scrap bags, and this one's in the fabulous warm tones. Yes, I know, they're my favorite. So as you can see, I do have a fair amount of papers. I'm rummaging through my scrap bag to pull out some of the papers. Remember, the number one tip is start with the small pieces first, then build up with bigger pieces behind them. I'm wanting to find some little pieces that are a bit special. I want some textures. I really love the Kozo paper. I love the way it goes transparent. I love when you can see the multiple layers, the texture, and then another piece of paper behind it. I think that looks absolutely fabulous. So of course I'm starting with my small pieces first, yes, and I'm putting them down on the plate. Now this plate's not very big, especially after the 16x20 inch. It's gonna fill up really quick. I pulled out the gloss medium that I'm using to add the layers of the papers. Tip number 2. I know you're never gonna forget these tips. I'm gonna keep telling you. Because it embeds the papers and it works really well. I'm adding the beautiful textures to the plate. Pretty happy with how I think it might look, but you never quite know until you turn that print over, right? So I've got my beautiful little pieces on, I've got my textured pieces on, and then I ripped up some of my patterns and textures digital collage paper. I'm loving this. It works really well for this kind of application because you've already got a beautiful base and a background, and when you put it over some of the layers you've already created, the texture's incredible. So you'll find that on my website if you're interested, or you can look in the description under the video also for the information. I've got quite a few packs there of digital papers. They work beautifully, just saying. Then I added some of my favorite colored tissue. Man, I love making that tissue. I make it a lot. It's beautiful and it works well, especially for this kind of technique. Now again, I'm using the unbleached titanium. I just think it's a really good color. It works well with all these warm tones, and I've put on my favorite Japanese sketch pad rice paper. Now I left it overnight only because I got busy in the afternoon. Otherwise I would have pulled it up, but here we are now. And I know it's going to come off the plate easy because I left it so long. Look, super easy coming up off the plate. Man, I hope this one works. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we? Ta-da! Ta-da! Oh, look at that. Look at the texture on that. Now, let's have a little look and analyze this and see if we actually like it. You can see the image transfer beautifully. That worked really well. And there's my little pieces that I added. Now, this splashy look there is the Titan Buff that I put on and sprayed. Do we like that idea? It's kind of cool. I mean, it does look like that kind of old wall texture that we love about Venice. So I'm figuring it's actually worked really well. I love this little piece here. I like the texture of it. I like the embeddedness. Is that a word? Embeddedness into it. I like the way all the papers are smushed together. I think that is actually quite successful. Look, there's another transparent piece of the Agura lace of the Kozo paper. Don't forget the discount code for that one. There's so many things to tell you all the time. You really need to check the description. You don't know what you're missing out on. So there's some more of the beautiful Kozo paper in that Agura lace. I absolutely love it. Look at that. That's going to work. Okay. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I didn't know if the idea was going to work, to be completely honest. I wasn't sure that the paint splatters was going to work with the background texture of all the papers. I actually really like it, but I didn't think it was going to work. And because I didn't think it was going to be successful, I did another one. So can I just show you one more? Just one more. I wanted to use exactly the same image transfer because I wanted to try it again without using the splashy bits. So I decided to try it again, and I used the same Liquitex Muted Violet. Love this color. It works so well. Same image transfer because I wanted to see if it would look better without the splashy paint. So I put a little too much on the plate this time. It was a little thick. So where you see the windows and the doors, that prints really well because it's the darkest part of the print. I actually pushed into a stamp to remove some of the paint because I wanted to break up that thick blocky color, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks really good. I then wiped out some of the paint around the edge because I wanted to create a neater shape with the image transfer. And you might notice a little bit of a pink on the plate. No, I didn't add pink. It's just stained from last week when I was doing the alcohol inks and I was using the unconventional mediums on the plate. It stained on my Gel Elf plate, but don't let that worry you. What's wrong with a little bit of pink tint? It'll be perfectly fine. It doesn't matter about printing it. It just looks a little weird. And just know if you don't want that to happen with your gel plate, doesn't matter what brand it is, it will happen. So don't use the alcohol inks. Right, so I'm putting small pieces on first. Say it with me. Tip number 1. Small pieces down first, then the bigger pieces on the plate using the gel medium. Tip number 2. I did a couple of the layers with the beautiful texture and the bigger pieces behind it, but this time I didn't add so many pieces. I used bigger pieces and I didn't put the paint layer on, so I want to see if that's going to work better for the image transfer. Now this time I used Amsterdam Bronze for the paint layer for my pickup paint because I wanted to have more of that paint layer on the gel plate. I left more space this time. Well, not a huge amount, but I did leave some more than I did, especially the first time. Don't worry, I'm going to get better at this. Beautiful paint color, this one, and I'm using the Japanese sketch pad rice paper. Yes, it's my favorite paper for creating these beautiful prints, no matter what we're putting on the plate. And yes, this one has also been sitting overnight. It's the best way to do it. Create them on the plate, leave them overnight, and they're sure to come up the next morning without a drama. Look at my pink plate. Oh, I say without a drama, but there might be a drama. Oh, have a look at what happened this time. My image transfer didn't come up so well, not as well as the first time. That is really interesting. Look, it stuck to the plate. So why did it do that? I don't know, man. Maybe I should have put some gel medium on it before I put the paper down. We might have to look at doing that because the first time had the paint layer and the paint layer picked up the transfer. So That is something very interesting to think about. The print looks pretty cool. Have a look at how cool the print looks. Beautifully textured. I like these layers of paper. We're missing a little bit of the edge here. What else are we missing? That section there. So that section there. But it doesn't deter too much from the overall collage because I'm liking the impression of it. Look, you can see that little piece of lace there on top. I like the embedded textures. This looks pretty cool. I don't know about that. That's a bit stuck on there. Do we like that? I don't know about that. But I do like the textures. I like, you can see again, the Kozo paper disappears into the papers that come behind it. So that works really well. That's really interesting about the image transfer, which is why you got to keep trying and experimenting and exploring with these fabulous techniques, because I learn something every single time. So maybe the paint layer helped stick the transfer to the paper. Don't know, man. Or maybe it just wanted to be annoying this time. That does happen. So what do you think? I think this technique has so much potential for so many different ideas. I can't wait to try again. I think this one is pretty random in its colouring because I was using that scrap pack of random pieces. But I think it looks really good considering. Although next time I'm definitely going to use less paper and add paint shapes to it. I think I'll add the paint shapes first, then put on the paper pieces. So if you want to see more of this kind of technique and more videos, come and join me on Patreon. I'm loving these ones. I'm loving the texture of this. It might be a little busy. Maybe it's hard to see the image transfer, but the actual texture of the paper feels really good. I really like the feel of it, and I like that kind of paint peeling old wall style. I think it suits the theme of the beautiful Venice door. This one was really interesting the way it didn't come off as well. I'm thinking maybe it might need paint or some gloss medium to adhere the image transfer to the paper, but that's why we keep creating fabulous designs and prints. This would make great for collage. I would use this in something bigger and add more pieces to it. It'd make a nice little focal point, I'm thinking. I think the experiments have worked really well today. It's really fun and I'm busting to try again. Now, I have to remind you, if you're coming to join me in my Facebook group, which I really hope you do, Creative Adventures Making Art, then you need to answer the 2 admin questions. It's really not hard. But Libby's telling me that half the people that want to join aren't answering the questions, and we really want you to so we know you are a human. We're trying to keep out any spam bots or any problems. So just know if you want to join the Facebook group, you just answer the 2 questions so we know you're a human. And then, baby, the door's open. Come and play. There's so many fabulous creative people creating amazing things, not just jelly printing and not just collage, all sorts of fabulous creative artworks. It's a really encouraging group and I absolutely love it. I'm in there all the time, commenting, liking, adding things. So if you're needing a little bit of inspiration, come and join us. Thanks for joining me today. Now, don't forget there's more information in the description under the video if you want to know anything about what I've talked about. I think this is fun. I think the prints are absolutely fabulous and I'm going to explore this technique again some more. So you'll find more information at froiler.com. So come back and join me again next time in the studio.